Hello everybody, welcome to the channel, Talking with Jay Springer. I'm your host Jay, giving you a video on the channel today. Welcome back to the new series which I'm going to be reviewing the MCU from the beginning to the end on the road to Avengers Endgame. This is called Journey to Avengers Endgame. This is the second film in the series, which earlier on in the week I reviewed Iron Man. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, that's the first Iron Man. I'll leave a link in the description for that, annotations at the end of the video and a card throughout the video, so stay tuned for that. And don't forget guys, on Wednesday I'll be uploading the Iron Man 2 review, so stay tuned for that as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy this review. This is the Incredible Hulk. I'm going to go over this, review it for you guys, give you guys my opinions. But don't forget guys, if you enjoy this review, smash that thumbs up, lets me know you're enjoying my content. Comment your thoughts down below, because this is as much your channel as it is mine. I want to hear your feedback on all these movies on the road to Avengers Endgame, even if it isn't about the Incredible Hulk or the Iron Mans and stuff, and you just want to talk about other things. Let me know in the comment section down below, that would be great. And don't forget guys, if you're new here, please do consider subscribing and hitting that bell. I want you to join me on the road of this series to Avengers Endgame. We're going to review them all up to Avengers Endgame, and I'm going to rank them from the worst to the best on the channel, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe, hit the bell, you will not be disappointed. So without further ado guys, let's get straight into my review. The Incredible Hulk came out on the 13th of June 2008. It's an action adventure sci-fi movie. It's about 1 hour and 52 minutes long. Rotten Tomatoes giving it a 67%, IMDb giving it a 6.8 out of 10, and Metacritic giving it a 61. A man named Bruce Banner, who's incredibly desperate with his mission to seek a cure for the gamma radiation that has contaminated his cells and is turning him into the Hulk. Cut off from his love Betty and forced on the run by his nemesis General Ross, known as Betty's father, Banner soon comes face to face with a new threat named the Abomination. Then the battle of strength truly begins. So guys, in the first leading role we have Edward Norton playing as Bruce Banner and the Hulk. First off, I want to say, brilliant performance by Edward Norton. I was hearing a lot of things going around about him in the past with this movie. He had a lot of troubles. He wanted to even release an extended cut of all the footage which wasn't included in the film, and went to courts and stuff like that, and actually, I think it was the writer or the director and something actually won the battle, so he couldn't release it, and won the whole rights to the script, even though Edward actually put a lot into the script, rewrote it all and made it a lot better. He actually apparently lost the battle to it. That was something I was reading up on and hearing about, so just a little bit of a fact for you there. But Edward Norton, really good actor, really good. Really enjoyed his performance in this film as well. The film in general, for him, I think was great. In my personal opinion, I like Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, but I think Edward Norton really plays Bruce Banner better than Mark Ruffalo does. Edward Norton really put a lot of time and effort into the Bruce Banner role, really made us care for the character and his relationship with all the other people. Now, obviously, Edward Norton goes through such a rough time in this movie, going through the battle of obviously survival on the run, and he's basically trying to fight not being the Hulk. He hates being the Hulk. He wants to get rid of it more than anything, but he doesn't want to hand it over to the general because he knows he will use it in wars and use it for the wrong. And that's the one thing he's trying to fight. He wants to get rid of it before they can capture him and get it, basically. That's the purpose of his story in this movie. I think it's a really good, well written and well thought out story for that character. I think he suited it really well, and I think his performance only goes to show in this movie. He's one of the main reasons I think a lot of people still go back and watch this movie. I think he's really well respected as an actor and really deserves a bit of praise coming his way for this movie. Next up we have Liv Tyler playing as Betty Ross, obviously the partner of Edward Norton and obviously the daughter of the general. So basically in this movie I think she done really well. She really, again like Edward, really got a really good connection with us. We felt emotional for her, especially when she sees Edward turning into the Hulk. You really have to feel the emotions and how scared she is, but how much she loves him. You could see that in the movie. A lot of people would normally, acting in that role, you'd normally look at them and go, why are you doing that? You're so stupid. There's a Hulk, run, basically. That's how you would feel. But looking at her, you can tell she really loves this guy. She would do anything for him, and she'd go to the end of the world. She'd go to the end of the world for this guy. So that's one thing I felt, and I really did respect the way they done that in this movie. I think she done so well. There was a lot of parts in this where you really got to build her as a character. I think the connection with Edward was really the main thing, really. And obviously her battles with her father as well. Obviously her father is the general, and he's after the thing that Bruce has got inside of him, and she's trying to stop that from happening. She's the person in the middle of all this, and yeah, I think she played a good part really in this movie. Next up we have Tim Roth playing as Emil Blonsky and Abomination. I think he was really well in this, played really well in this movie. I think the script for him was great. I think his part was great. I just think the Abomination side of things was let down. A lot of people do not like the Abomination in this movie, mainly because of the CGI and stuff like that, which we'll talk about later on this review. But the Abomination as a whole, I think the way they made him be the Abomination and the Abomination's actual work as a character, I think it was really well thought out, really well done. I don't think I would really have done it any other way. I think the battle with the Hulk was really good in terms of the actual battle. I think it was just took the Hulk right to the edge, and that's what the Abomination would do. And that's me personally what I think. But as Emil Blonsky, he's one of them characters you can see, he's them evil, conniving, like really horrible people. You can see he's really angry when Bruce gets the better of him, and no matter how much he goes down. There was one point he was even on death's door in this film. He still came back with that heart. He knows he has to try and beat Bruce. That's why he turns into the Abomination and still tries to beat the Hulk. Great character, great storyline. I really did enjoy his part in this movie, and he was one of the main reasons I think I stayed and watched the movie again. Last but not least, we have William Hurt playing as General Ross. Now, General Ross, as mentioned, he was the nemesis of Bruce Banner, Edward Norton's character, and he was the father of Liv Tyler's character, Betty Ross. So he had a crucial part to play in this. Obviously, being the general as well, he took quite a lot of this movie, and the parts he was in, he was really engaging with me. I really did feel the anger and the jealousy and the aggression from this character, knowing that he really needed Bruce Banner. For that reason, he wanted to capture that, and basically he was going to go right to the end to get it. That's why he made the Abomination. I just thought it was outstanding. As the nemesis, you could really see his head was screwed on. He was trying to be the mastermind of the movie to stop Bruce from getting away, but every time he just kept getting away just by that little bit of luck, and it was really getting on his nerves. And then when he finally catches him, the Abomination's born, and he needs the Hulk. And he hates the fact that he has to give in to the Hulk. That's the one thing I do like, because that's true storytelling. If you've been working your arse off basically to get something, and it's suddenly taken away from you, or you have to give it up, imagine that feeling. And you can see that in his face, and the emotion of the acting was just perfect in my personal opinion. Through the 4 things which I like to look at when I'm reviewing my movies, and that is storyline, script and dialogue, the directing and the editing. And under editing, I like to look at the pacing of the movie, the music and the visuals. Now, the storyline, let's start off with the storyline. The storyline of this movie was pretty basic. If you look at Bruce Banner's storyline, pretty much because he's the main character, you can see he's pretty much the Hulk on the run, because he does not want to give up this thing inside his body, because they're going to use it for the worst pretty much. Then along the road, he realises he needs to be the Hulk. He needs to save the world sometimes. There's things like the Abomination which are going to come along. He needs to be the Hulk. He comes to terms with that. And I think he also comes to terms with all the other people like Betty alongside him, his love, really would accept him no matter what. And I think that's another little storyline added on to that. The Abomination story, I think the Abomination story was the thing that really let this movie down, in my personal opinion, because they rushed it. They added it at the end. If this film would have had another 20 to 30 minutes max, and you really got the build for, because they had a long build for the Abomination, but then he was the Abomination. He decided to destroy the world. The Hulk literally had to save the day, and it was done. It was too quick. Now, the storyline was well planned out throughout the movie, and then suddenly that went too quick. And that is a lot of the reason why a lot of people do not like this movie, because the Abomination part, they find it a snooze fest. Me personally, I enjoyed the battle between the two. I really did. There was a lot of faults with obviously the editing, but if you think back that far, there was going to be a lot. It was a CGI fest movie, let's be honest. 2 Hulks pretty much on the same screen at the same time, a CGI fest. But let's get back to the story. The story was well thought out all the way through. I did enjoy the story. That's probably one of the main things that kept me going. But as I said, the Abomination bit was too quick and needed to be well more thought out, and probably more time added on, and made it a better movie. Next up, we have the script and the dialogue. If we look at each character, I think, personally honest, I think they would have had a big part to play in it when it comes to the script. The dialogue was well spoken. I think it was well written out, and I think a lot of that was due to Edward Norton. If you think about, as I said in the beginning of this, he went back and actually rewrote the script. I don't know if it was just for him or others, but he rewrote most of it, and I think because of that, the script and the dialogue came off a lot more better. You felt the connection between each characters very well, especially with us as the audience. I felt a lot of this movie, more emotions towards obviously the main two in Betty and Bruce. I really felt that. Next up, we have the directing. Now, the directing for the most part of this movie was great. I do think there was some things they could have changed, whether it was a certain angle or a certain scene. That's just me personally, but the directing for the most part was well done. Last but not least, we have the editing. So the pacing of the movie, I think the first half of this movie was quite slow, but then you had your fast bits in it, obviously with Bruce on the run. But personally, if I'm perfectly honest with you, I think that was the best part. Normally I like the faster parts than the slower parts, but the slower part of this movie, the build up until the final battle, was the best part of the movie. Next up, we have the music. I don't think there was a lot of music in this movie, if I can recall, but whenever it was, there wasn't a problem, so that's the one thing I wanted to add, as well as the visuals. Now we get to the main thing I wanted to talk about before I give it my official rating. So the visuals in this, now I think it's because the two Hulks on the screen at the same time was a CGI fest. That's without all the explosions, without all the cars being thrown around and stuff like that, all the little bits of detail that they've had to put in. I don't think they really put in as much as they could have. But maybe that's just me being a bit too harsh, I'm not too sure. But I think this film, the visuals weren't great. And I think a lot of that would be because of the problems they were having behind the scenes. This film had a lot of problems. And rightfully so, a lot of people do find this film either bad, or just about good, or just a complete snooze fest. And we all have our own opinions on this movie, but in my personal opinion, I think the visuals could have been better. So the visuals, in terms of some of the explosions, were okay. I think the actual CGI on the Hulk scenes alone, I think that they're great. I think they were well done. But I think it was mainly from the Abomination scenes with the Hulk. I think that was a complete CGI snooze fest. And I think they could have done a lot better with this movie. So guys, I'm going to give it my official rating. So when I give it my rating, I like to either look at it as a really bad movie, a bad, a good, or a totally awesome movie. Will it be totally awesome? Like most of the movies I've reviewed so far, I've been very lucky to review all these movies and be in that totally awesome zone, really, which is normally between an 8 and a 10. And yeah, so guys, what do you reckon it'll be? Do you reckon it will hit that totally awesome mark? Would you reckon it'll be the good mark? Do you reckon it'll be bad or really bad? Let me know yours in the comment section down below. But I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10.
That's
so if
good.
you look at the ratings, obviously 67% from Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb giving it a 6.8 out of 10, and Metacritic giving it a 61. Me personally, I think a 6 out of 10, between a 6 and a 7 is the right aim for this movie. I don't think anything below that, I think that would just be too harsh for the movie, because the movie as a whole is great. I think if they'd have given it more time, maybe some bit more editing, and maybe some more actual scenes in the movie, because as I said, the build for this movie was great, and then suddenly the Abomination happens, and that's it. I think if they'd have put some more time and effort into the movie, I think this would have been a lot more successful, just like the Iron Man 1. So, yeah, that's just my personal opinion. I think a 6 out of 10 is what I'm going to give it. I really did enjoy it. Well, did enjoy most parts of this movie. Even the final battle, I'll be honest, I did enjoy it watching it a second time or a third time. But the first time when I watched this, it was a complete snooze fest. I did not like it whatsoever. But yeah, guys, a 6 out of 10 is what I'm going to give it. Let me know your ratings and your comments on what you thought about The Incredible Hulk down below. Don't forget, on Wednesday, I'll be reviewing the Iron Man 2, so stay tuned for that. And the rest of the movies, we're going to be reviewing them all right up to Avengers Endgame. Then ranking them from the worst to the best on the channel. You don't want to miss it, so subscribe, hit that bell, hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to comment down below. Support the channel on the road to 100 subscribers. Thank you very much, guys. Really do appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one with Talking with Jay Springett.